Hello everyone, Jules here. Today I want to show quite an interesting deck, which is the Hieronymus Bosch Tarot with the artwork of Hieronymus Bosch, published by Rockpool Publishing very recently, and the book by McHenry. So here is the box. It has a scene from the Garden of Earthly Delights on the box, and it's a very hard cardboard box with a very good height, nice thick height on here. And the little doors open in the front. I'll show you in a moment. The little doors open in the front, and the cards are inside here in the middle. These are fairly regular tarot size. For some reason I thought this was an oracle size deck. I don't know why, but I did. This is just your pretty standard tarot size. Here at the back of the cards, the Garden of Earthly Delight again. So you have, I'll just show you one card at the back here. You have the Garden of Earthly Delight with this royal blue, deep royal blue border on the back. The cardstock is very good. It's matte finish, quite sturdy, and you have this really lovely, quite beautiful light blue gilding. I hope you can see that properly. Light blue gilding, not too much glare going on, but it's light blue. Quite beautiful. I really like the gilding. It's very well done. It's not sharp. It's just really well done. This is not a conventional tarot deck because of the structure. So I know there's been some comments from people saying that they see it like an oracle, and you could. I actually do see it as a tarot deck. I will probably tell you why as I go along, explain that a little bit. But I got this, I must admit, I got this for the artwork. So that is why I got this deck. But I like it more than what I thought I would. But I mainly got this for the artwork, I have to admit that. This is the only deck I have by the author McHenry. It's probably going to be the only deck I have by him. I'm not a particular fan of his work, but I wanted the Bosch artwork. That's why I got this deck. Here is the book. The book is quite helpful, you know, for people who don't know anything about Hieronymus Bosch, who want some ideas on how to use the deck. There is a colour picture for each card. There is the meaning. There are some keywords. So the book is quite well written for what it is, and it sort of outlines the author's approach to this, his reasoning for the structure of the deck. The suits, there's extra suits in this deck, and for each suit there is only one ace, so you do not have any numbered or pip cards in this. It's court cards. These are court suits. So anyone with a problem with court cards, this would have to be probably your nightmare deck. You know, this is a bit of a nightmare for people who have problems most of the time with your ordinary court cards in the tarot deck. I probably wouldn't recommend this as a working deck for people who do feel overwhelmed or puzzled by court cards, because these suits are really court suits, and each of the courts have an ace. That is it. As far as the numbered cards, just an ace, and I think I don't have a problem with that personally. There has always been a theory, especially in esoteric circles, that all of the numbers are contained in the ace anyway, from 1 to 10. So I don't have a problem with the fact that there's one ace for each of the suits. But there are about 6 suits, and I'll talk about that in a moment. But these suits, apart from the one ace for each suit, these are court cards. There's about 6 court cards for each of the suits, something like that. So, like I said, if you have a problem normally using the court cards in the tarot, you may not like this deck for that reason, because some people feel puzzled. I love court cards. I don't have a problem with court cards at all. Never did. So that is not a problem for me. But for a lot of other people, they seem puzzled by court cards. So I just thought I'd better let you know about that. I think I could see a lot of people, as time goes by, if they decide to get this book, if they decide to get this deck, I can almost see this deck intriguing people. It is an intriguing deck. It's a deep deck. I think of this as an archetypal deck. It's a very good deck for exploring the psyche, which is another reason why I got this. Some of the titles of the major arcana have been changed, but there is a table in here outlining that, listing them all, with the new name. So that's there. There's tiny little keywords on each of the cards, but they don't bother me because they're so small. I can barely see them. I just see the title. I just look at the title, and that's all I look at. I think a lot of people are going to think of this deck as a bit of a too hard basket for people who want conventional tarot structure. This deck would almost go into a bit of a too hard basket. I could see people kind of starting to regard this deck maybe eventually as a kind of like a new version of a Thoth. I think there's a lot of people who will be intrigued by this, but they'll think, oh, this is challenging, and they're going to think of this as some kind of almost pseudo. By Thoth, I don't mean the structure at all. I mean the type of it's got an esoteric intrigue, and so does the Thoth. So I think a lot of people will think, oh, well, I'd love to be able to do, get into this deck, but I just think there's too much to sort of think about and remember, things like that. Anyway, the suits, there are how many suits? We normally have 4 suits. This has 8 suits. I thought there were about 6, there's 8. So there's 8 suits, and there are, the court cards have, 7 or something? Yeah. No, I was right in the first place. 6 court cards. There's 6 court cards to a suit and 1 ace. So that's 7. And then there are 8 suits. There's 8 suits. And 6 court card figures and the ace, and 8 suits. Okay, now these are all outlined as well here. You've got an outline of the suits here, all listed. You've got also the court cards, or people cards. I like to call them people cards. That's all there as well. So you have page, knight, queen and king, but you also have baron, prince or princess as well. So there's the 2 extras. The baron and the prince or princess is like, it can be a prince on one suit, it can be a princess on another one. So there's your 2 extra court cards there. And now what you could do, this is a versatile deck in the way that if you wanted to, you do have swords, you do have coins, vessels could be cups, can be cups. If you want to just take all these other extra suits out, if you want, that's what you could do. You could have coins, vessels, swords, and then you'd need to choose your wands, what would normally be wands. There is a suit here called skates, but the fire suit actually in here is supposed to be the 7 deadly sins, and I'm not a fan of sins at all. I think of these as vices, but I'm unlikely to use that suit. I mean, I like the artwork, I think it's really interesting, but I'm unlikely to use it, to use the 7 deadly sins or vices. I'm very unlikely to use that as part of a tarot deck. I would take that out personally for me. But you have all these other choices. You know, I love, there are berries, there are birds. I love that. Berries, birds, books. You know, I really like that. I think it's really versatile. You can decide, you know, what to include, what you don't. I mean, you could just change your mind every time you use it, if you like. I like that. It's very versatile. As far as the elements are concerned, you've got some, you know, metal in here instead of the 4 elements normally. Like coins have been classed as metal rather than earth. Well, the 7 deadly sins or vices are fire, which I suppose relates to hell, you know. So you've got that. So yeah, you've still got your air, your earth, your water, but you've also got metal in here as well. There's another one called water and metal for skates, metal and fire for swords. I mean, anyway, you can decide for yourself, really. I mean, I think with every deck that you get, you know, this is all part of ideas and concepts of an author and an artist, but I tend to always make it my own because I'm the one using it. So if you want to make this your own, you know, do that. Here's the coloured pictures that are in here. They've all got coloured pictures with the name of the card and the keywords and the meaning. So I think that's all I could mostly say about the book, because I've been talking long enough about the book and the structure. There is an appendix at the back of the paintings and the cards. A bit about the artist himself. Now, Hieronymus Bosch. Bosch was his painting name. His real name was Jheronimus van Aken, and he lived in what is now the Netherlands. He was born in 1450, and he died at the age of 66 in 1516, but I'll put the details below the video. Okay, so that's the book. I'm just going to show you some of the cards that I particularly like. Okay, now first of all, for the Major Arcana. Here is the Wayfarer. I particularly like this one. I just think that is a perfect full figure. I love that. I think that's great. Just a totally perfect fool called the Wayfarer. Here is the Conjurer, which would be the Magician. I like this too. These all have a matte finish. These are Kings of the East, which is the Emperor card. Roman numerals, but it doesn't matter, these are all titled. Now for 7, this is Deception. So this is quite different to what would normally be the Chariot. So you of course need to look in the book and get familiar with things. That is Deception for number 7. Nine is Illumination. So you have kind of like the Hermit's lamp here, but Illumination is number 9. Death card. Great Death card. Another classic card like the Wayfarer. Just a classic. Paradise. Temptation, which would be the devil. I really like this because in the tree there's a serpent humanoid figure. It's got a serpent tail, but the top half is human. So I really like this. It's Temptation, the Dreamer, quite a beautiful card. And this is one of my all-time favourites. I've always loved this painting or this scene. Some of these are part of the Garden of Earthly Delights, or they're part of a triptych. Ascent of the Blessed. Always really loved this picture, this image. Such a spiritual image. It's 20, which would normally be the Judgment card, and the Dreamer is what would usually be the Star card. The Star card for the Dreamer. And that Ascent of the Blessed would normally, it's numbered 20, like the Judgment card. Here is the World. Number 21. Okay, so there's some of the major arcana I particularly like. Now, just a few of the other types of suits and things. Now, this is the fire suit, which would normally be wands. These are the sins or vices. This is the sin of greed. And as I was saying, I'm unlikely to be using these in this particular suit as a tarot deck, as part of a tarot deck. And here is the sin of sloth. Just sitting around doing nothing. Sin of sloth. Okay, now for berries. Oh, these, this is probably one of my favourite, or the favourite suit. Ace of berries. I think it was the berries that got me in originally with this deck. Just couldn't resist the berries. Ace of berries. Page of berries. So I'm just showing you a couple of each one so you can see what they're like. Ace of birds. This is really beautiful. Birds is probably my second favourite suit. I really like the birds too. So Ace of birds, and it's got a bit of, you can see the birds flying about there, and it's got a bit of a Tower of Babel feel. Ace of birds, I like that. And Page of birds. Really keen on these birds and berries. Page of birds. And what I love about these cards as well is that the more you look at them, the more you will see. There's all these intricate little details in here. Ace of books. This is probably my third favourite suit. Ace of books. And Queen of books. Well, I should mention that this deck was published recently, like this year. It was originally an indie deck that was published 2 years ago in about 2020. It was originally an indie deck. Ace of coins. King of coins. You can see this evil looking entity here handing a bag of coins or gold to a wealthy man. King of coins. Now for the skates. Ace of skates. These were the ones that I was saying that could be a fire, or the wand suit if you want. Ace of skates and the Queen of skates. So you can see the wearing the skates there. Queen of Skates. And here are the swords. Ace of Swords. And I often think of Hieronymus Bosch as a bit of a precursor to the Surrealist movement. In a lot of ways he was. I think he definitely inspired a lot of Surrealist painters who came, centuries after him. Ace of Swords. King of Swords, which is a bit like, first of all, I thought this was an angel. Now I realise this is probably representing Christ driving out the money changers at the temple on a religious theme. That's what it looks like to me. So, King of Swords. Now for vessels, Ace of Vessels, and this is the one that I was saying could be useful cups. You can see these people drinking out of each lining up to drink out of the barrel of wine. Ace of Vessels. And the Knight of Vessels, who looks like he's definitely had too much to drink. Is the Knight of Vessels. Okay, so there are a few of the cards from the Hieronymus Bosch Tarot, art by Hieronymus Bosch, and the book by Travis McHenry, and the concept and ideas for the deck by Travis McHenry. I think I really like this. I like it more than what I thought I would. Here is the book again. Yeah, this was worth getting for me because I love the artwork. I love the chance to explore the psyche in a deep way, because it's very archetypal, very symbolic. As a matter of fact, the names of the suits were created by Travis McHenry because of the repetition of particular symbols in the artwork of Hieronymus Bosch, and that gave him the inspiration for the different suit names and the suit categories. So, as I said, I really like this. I like the deck. I love the artwork. I think it's for people who want something archetypal, want something symbolic. This is not your conventional tarot deck at all. This is for people who like a challenge. I love a challenge, so this is great for me. I want something different. But as I was saying, if you are someone who is really not keen on the challenge of court cards, you will not like this, because you will just think there's too many court cards. So you need to take that into consideration as well. Otherwise, you could use this as an oracle if you wish. I actually do see it as, it is a functioning tarot, but it is an unconventional tarot deck. And there have been some others, along the line you know, with changed title names, changed suit names. Admittedly, this is different, a bit different again because of all the court cards and additional suits, but you need to just consider those things if you are thinking of getting this deck. The Hieronymus Bosch Tarot. I will put some details below the video. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.